The song, the miserable song that told me I was unloved and unlovable, that I was alone, that my life would be one long desert, slowly scorching my ability to scream, was gone. It had just vanished. Poof, I finished my run in a sense of wonder, but also confusion. How had I lived with this horrible wailing for so long? Was this the lightness and freedom that other people felt all the time? Millions, billions of people deal with anxiety. Almost all of us deal with some mental infirmity at one point or another in our lives. My addiction and my depression are twins. They were born together. They had the same source, the same tangle of trauma, silence, chemistry, and blood. I have had anxiety. You're not alone. You're in the majority. I read about it compulsively. I was looking for answers, looking for something that told me there was a light at the end of the tunnel. According to adder.org, more than 40 million adults in the United States alone have anxiety, but only 36.9% of those people actually get treatment. From the years 2000 to 2012, the United States was the only one to have increased suicide rates by 24.2%. When I was going through my hardest times, I had friends help and encourage me to not let it get to my head. Through the Prose, Life Inside My Mind, written by 31 different authors and composed by Jessica Burkhart, we will see that it's important to know you do matter. Depression usually makes me park myself on the couch and watch TV, or traps me at my desk while I'm trying to do work. I do a lot of staring, a lot of time-wasting activities to help me mute out the world. I'd say I have a mixture of anxiety, depression, and OCD. They sometimes go together because if you have OCD, you roll stuff over and over in your mind. And sometimes that gives you anxiety, and sometimes it makes you depressed. When I have anxiety, my heart beats fast and my head starts to sweat, and I can't sleep at all, or I feel like I need to sleep all the time. What do you think triggers it? It's just anything, everything. I can literally think about having anxiety and either have a panic attack or just sit there and hope it goes away. I have anxiety all the time, so really, panic attacks aren't as bad as some of the other stuff. I don't remember the first time I was depressed. I mean, really depressed. Although I know it must have been in middle school. The year I turned 13 was the worst year of my life. I was not ready for my beauty, not ready to be seen as something besides a little girl. Not ready for a new school, drugs, and a sociopathic bully. Not ready for another new school a few months later. Not ready for more drugs, and not ready for sex I did not fully consent to. Certainly not ready to navigate these terrors alone. Secrets came naturally to me. I had been keeping myself a secret since before I can remember. The next year, another new school. It was supposed to be a new beginning, but of course, I was still the same person. I knew I was supposed to be making new friends, but I couldn't remember how to smile. I could barely speak. I was trailed by secrets, weighed down by trauma. I had no tools to process. No one talked about PTSD, especially for a pretty middle-class girl who got straight A's and were so good at keeping secrets. And I do remember a day in 8th grade heading with my mom beneath a violently colorful spring sky when I scanned the clouds for a sign about whether or not I should kill myself. My adolescents were filled with fantasies of death, smashed between the wheels of cars, falling from a high ledge, shot by a random stranger. In many of my fantasies, I was the passive player, the victim of circumstance beyond my control. Over time, my fantasies grew more specific and also more resonant. I imagined overdosing or cutting my wrist to bleed out in the bathtub, a dangerous form of mental play acting for a girl. I wanted to jump. I needed to jump. I'm not suicidal. It's just hard to explain. I like my life. I want to live. I get better than average grades, do debate, track and field, and play trumpet and pep band. I'm dating an awesome person and we don't fight. I want to go to college, and before that, I want to have a great senior year. People seem to like me. I'm not gorgeous or anything, but I look pretty good. So there's nothing wrong with my life. But a year ago, I wanted to jump. My brain played over and over the sight of my skull bursting on the asphalt below, a perfect circle of blood and gore painting the street like artwork. I never wanted food, water, or air the same way I wanted to see that art. I cried on that bridge, begged myself to not want it. I honestly don't know how I got through that day. Don't know why I'm still alive, but I went home and I was a mess. Luckily, my mom and dad listened. Some don't, many don't. And I've learned that. They didn't understand, and I don't blame them. I didn't understand either. I told them over and over again I didn't want to die. I just wanted to jump onto the pavement, into oncoming traffic. Better if I could get hit by a semi on the way down, but who would understand that? It's just crazy. So they took me to a therapist. She was the one who helped me see the other episodes. Ones I hadn't thought of compulsions at all. The urge to go shoulder check the meanest football player in the school just to see if he'd hit me. If he broke my nose with blood splatter on the wall. Out on a hike with friends, wondering if the little patch of mushrooms I saw was poisonous enough to kill me. How many I'd have to eat. Could I puke up my own organs? The bridge episode was just the one big enough to get my attention. The first time the soundtrack got loud enough to drown out my own brain. Meds didn't make the compulsions go away, and they certainly didn't change me from wanting to somehow destroy myself. But they softened the soundtrack, like turning down music from something that makes your head throb and your ears bleed to something you only have to shout over to be heard. I needed that little bit. I'll probably always need that little bit, because this was the life inside my mind.